Hey guys, my name is Chris, aka Chu, and welcome to a new series called Decks Explained. In this series, I'm going to bring you decks from the current standard format that you can use to have fun and also win, whether you're playing with your friends or try to reach Mythic rank 1. Alright, let's get into it. So in this new series, I'm going to try to show you decks in the current standard format and how they work. I'm going to try to show a range of decks, from budget decks with no rares that you can make without many wildcards, tier 1 competitive decks, and some more fun, janky decks. In this episode, I'm bringing you a budget mono-red aggro list. This deck uses small, aggressively costed creatures and efficient damage spells to quickly overrun the opponent. I'm going to break this deck down and explain all the cards and their function in the deck. First of all, we're going to start with the creatures. The creatures in this deck are really important as they allow you to gain card advantage by dealing damage every turn without using a new card. Where a shock might give you 2 damage for 1 mana, a Get 2 Lava Runner or a Fanatical Firebrand could sit on the board for multiple turns, dealing at least 1 damage a turn before they can deal with it. But we'll start with Fanatical Firebrand. He's a great early creature that allows you to start your damage on turn 1, and on turn 2 he can deal damage to activate your Spectacle cards. He's also really great for dealing with turn 1 1/1s in the meta that can be a problem, like Terramancer from Mono Blue and Drakes, Llanowar Elves from Sultai or Gruul, or any of the dorks that are in Mono White. A great part about his ability is even if they have blockers, you can activate it to get that last point of damage in you need on a player or a creature, or to activate Spectacle. Get 2 Lava Runner is another great creature. Though you won't be able to get in damage on turn 1, playing him on turn 1 allows you to get in crazy amounts of damage on turn 2 by playing 2 1-cost spells. It's also worth noting that he is a wizard, and this activates our Wizard Lightning, make it cheaper to cast. Spear Skewer is a card we're playing a 3 of. This card is decent. You can play him early and get in a lot of good damage. Makes activating your Spectacle cards a lot easier. The only issue with him, and the reason we aren't playing more, is he also damages us. Since we are trying to deal as much damage as possible and hopefully kill our opponent before they kill us, this isn't usually an issue, but it can become a problem against the other aggro decks. Electrostatic Field is a card I really like. This card allows us to get an extra point of damage every spell we cast, as long as he's on the field. Since our spells are so cheap, if it stays on the board, he can deal crazy amounts of damage. This creature also has a huge butt with 4 toughness. This is awesome because it allows him to block a lot of early game creatures and dodge a lot of removal, forcing your opponent to use either a kill creature spell or 2 damage spells. Viashino Pyromancer. This creature is also great. When he enters the battlefield, he deals 2 damage automatically, so even if he's killed, whenever he resolves, he's already helped you out. He's also a wizard, so that'll help out with our Wizard's Lightning. Now moving on to our spells. To start off, we have Shock and Lightning Strike. These are just some efficient damage spells. There's not much to say about these. They just allow us to kill our opponent cheaply and quickly. It's just 2 damage for 1 mana, 3 damage for 2 mana. And then we also have our situationally cheap spell. Skewer allows us to deal 3 damage for 1 mana, if we can deal some other sort of damage on the turn. And Wizard's Lightning allows us to do the same thing if we have a wizard. Using these cheap spells, we can sometimes deal 7 or 8 damage on turn 2. Now, you may be wondering, if we're casting so many cheap spells, aren't we going to run out? Well, that's where our efficient draw spells come in. I'll start with Flame of Keld, since it's a draw spell with an extra effect, though we do discard our hand on the turn we cast it. The turn after we'll draw 3 cards, 1 for the turn and 2 from Flame of Keld. And if your flame survives 2 turns, then you'll have the third effect, which can easily end games for you. With a few creatures out or a few spells in hand, this can often deal an extra 4 to 10 damage, easily killing your opponent. Light Up the Stage is a new card from Ravnica Allegiance. For 1 mana, the Spectacle cost allows you to exile the top 2 cards of your library. Those cards stay exiled until the end of the next turn. With so many cheap cards in our deck, this card may as well read Draw 2. Playing 4 in our deck, if we can get rather lucky, you can actually chain them together, allowing us to draw a lot of cards in 1 turn. It also filters our deck. By taking 2 cards out of the deck, we are drawing closer to more damage to kill our opponent, or more lands that we need. Speaking of lands, we're playing 19 mountains in this deck. Personally, I feel like this is a good number. I've seen a lot of different red decks playing as low as 17 or as high as 21, but with this build, I feel like 19 is perfect for us to draw enough lands to cast our spell and not flood out. Remember that numbers in this deck are just a recommendation. Experiment with different land numbers or different card numbers and build the deck to your liking. I'll quickly go over the sideboard. Personally, if you're building a budget deck, I prefer best of 1. And I'd recommend you start there if you're a newer MTGA player with a small collection, but I'll include a quick sideboard guide if you want to try best of 3. But first we have 4 Lava Coil. This card is really good against cards that come back from the graveyard like Arclight Phoenix or Rekindling Phoenix. It also deals 4 damage with 1 card. This is great for killing the Djinn from Mono Blue, Venerated Loxodon from white, or Nicol Bolas in Grixis. Lightning Mare is a great efficient creature against the blue control decks, or mono blue. This can't be countered, so you don't have to worry about those pesky counter spells. And against the mono blue deck, none of their creatures can block it. Raptor Hatchling is a good card against the aggro decks and cards that use removal that deals damage. If they leave the hatchling, then it's a 1/1 that sits on the board. And if he gets to block, or if he is removed with damage, he becomes a 3/3 token and they have to use more removal. Fiery Cannonade is a great card to use against other aggro decks. It may kill some of our creatures as well, but if our opponent overcommits and doesn't expect it, then we can gain card advantage and win by having more resources than our opponent. It is worth remembering that our Fanatical Firebrand is actually a pirate, so he'll live through this spell. It's also easy to forget that Fiery Cannonade is an instant, so you can wait till your opponent's turn to cast it, allowing you to attack and then cast it on their turn. So lastly, we have Fight with Fire. This is great effective removal for killing large creatures like Lyra or Skardag Hellkite. The kicker won't be too relevant as it does cost 9 mana, but sometimes you do end up flooding out against certain decks like the control decks, and you'll be able to hit them in the face for 10. Just keep it in mind that it is another option for winning. That finishes up with our sideboard. Before we finish this video, I'm just going to show you a few cards that you can craft if you want to improve this deck as you gain more wild cards. So the non-core cards in the main deck that can be changed are Spear Skewer, Electrostatic Field, and Flame of Keld. If you had some rare wild cards you wanted to spend to replace these cards, you could replace them with 4 Steamkins, 4 Goblin Chain Warriors, and some number of Experimental Frenzy. In the sideboard, there are some different cards you can try, like Treasure Map, Bane Fire, Legion War Boss, and Direfleet Daredevil. Remember that your sideboard is your resource in best of 3 to help you against specific decks. If you're having trouble against a matchup, look in your collection or look at similar decks online for new sideboard ideas that could help you out. But that leads us to the end of this video. I hope you guys like this new video format I'm trying out, and I hope to make more videos like this in the future. If there's a deck you want me to do a video on, feel free to let me know. And lastly, if you want to see more content from me, feel free to hit that subscribe button and you'll see more videos as I release them. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.